Hey guys, what's up? This is Michael from Club Yokai, and today I'm going to be breaking down our beat called Hitto. As you can probably tell, this is the third beat on our Suto EP beat pack. You can check out the rest of the tutorials on our YouTube page and also Instagram TV. You can check out the full beats on SoundCloud, YouTube, BeatStars, AudioMac. Should all be somewhere on our website or on our social media. You can probably find it there too. I'm going to be kind of breaking down a more, I guess more melodic beat. This one, compared to kendo and karate, there's a lot more melodic stuff going on, and there's a lot more, our own MIDI that we've typed out playing throughout. There's a lot more layering too, which I think will be interesting for the guys that are especially trying to do melodic based, hip hop beats versus more like trap stuff. So yeah, basically what I do is for this one, I took Drake's Never Recover, loaded up into Ableton, changed the tempo to whatever Drake song was in, and then I make another MIDI channel where I basically write what is happening in this section and how long is it happening. For this one, I wasn't too detailed, so I kind of left it pretty open, but for a lot of them I'll go into detail, like, oh, they put a fill right here, this is where everything drops out with the vocal, stuff like that, so it's a lot easier to copy. And then from there I save this MIDI clip in Ableton, and then whenever I'm feeling stuck on structure, or if I need help, I can just drag and look at my folder of like, hey, I have all these MIDI clips with structure information for hip hop beats, which I can just go to, click on one, drag it in, and then realign my 16 bar loop, and then see like, hey, like this is how I can restructure it. And that way, instead of it being just 16 bars, now it's a full 3-minute song, and I can work on it, add transitions. It speeds up the workflow a lot. Should stop talking, let me just play a quick snippet of the beat for those who have not heard it yet. As you can tell, pretty open. There's not a lot going on other than drums, 808, and then the main synth pattern. This lead is, I believe, from it's from Serum. Okay. This lead was fun to write in. I believe one of the hashtags we used to describe this beat was Animal Crossing, because it sounds very like happy Animal Crossing type thing. At least for us it did. I don't know for you guys. But yeah, for this one, like a lot of our other beats, we usually start with a sample that we find that we end up wanting to chop up. For those who are, big proponents of not sampling, I understand where you come from. I used to make all my stuff where I was like, oh, I need to make everything, and then like I could resample it from there. But for this song specifically, it's like, hey, if we find a good sample, we're just gonna, chop it up and make it different, and then, add some variation here and there. And then it's like, all right, we wouldn't have gone the song had we not used a sample. So it's like, it really depends. Obviously, you don't want to just drag in some like construction kit and then say it's your beat, especially if you don't do anything with it. That's why we try our hardest to add variation here and there. For this one too, I believe we actually build out the chorus too, so the sample isn't even like the main part, as you can see right here. So this is actually playing all the chords, and then we have a bunch of pads being layered on. These are just some like staccato strings being played too. And we kind of wanted to have the simple 808 pattern just to copy all that, because there's a lot going on, and we kind of wanted to keep it pretty simple. So yeah, I mean, even with that, it's just like we're still using the sample, but it's no longer what it was originally. It's kind of just like an offbeat, synth pluck thing that's kind of just like filling out the rest of the beat. I believe we have a flute solo here too, right here. Which is just playing like in the last chorus, I believe, just because we wanted some variation. It's an omnisphere. You probably recognize it. A lot of trap producers use it with a little bit of phasing, I think, to get it more stereo. But yeah, I mean, this beat is pretty simple. I guess the main thing I could break down is the drums, because they're pretty simple, but there's a lot going on. If you're looking for punchy kicks too, highly recommend checking out some EDM type kicks because their transient is going to be very, very clear, and it's a lot easier to work with that than is some other hip hop kits where it might be, too muddy or that the transient isn't like present enough. But yeah, for a lot of our stuff, we like organizing it with different percussion. So for example, percussion 1, 2, 3, 4, like to label the hats in any different style instrument, but for the most part, this is how we do our naming conventions. We tend to like having some form of percussion that's always playing, whether it be 8th notes or 16th notes, just to, maintain that rhythm, and also to have a backbone, because especially if the hi-hat is doing something crazy like this one is. It's keeping the tempo, but with this shaker, it almost like reinforces that tempo and it makes the groove a lot more solidified, which is always good. So I highly recommend, playing around with that. Obviously, these two things are very quiet in the mix. Like you can barely hear this thing. And you can hear the hi-hat a lot more. So that's just like a small thing you could do to add variation and rhythm without, doing too much crazy stuff with the mix. The next thing I would say about this track is that we have a lot of FX sweeps like this. And these are kind of there to pair with the beat cut. So I'll play right here. So it gives cuts. So if the artist was to have, some ad lib or some, beat breakdown section, they could use those as, where they throw in the ad libs because there's nothing going on. And it's also a lot easier now to just mute the entire track and just have, their vocal. So it gives them space, to do some like cool or stupid shit. And it also adds enough variation where it's not just the sample playing over and over and over again, which is always good. I think that's the main thing we learned, at least from making this beat, is that having, moments of silence and also just like working in beat cuts is always good. Mostly for us because it adds, variation. And it's also good for the artist because now it's like, hey, like this is where I think I should come in based on how the beat sounds. It kind of, gives them inspiration like where they think and should, perform in a specific way. So, but yeah, I mean, this beat, like I would say if you have any other further questions, feel free to write a comment below, and I'm totally down to like write something and respond to all of them. But for this, it's very, pretty straightforward. The main things to take away are that, don't feel bad for using samples. Samples have their time and place. And for this one specifically, it found its place. We were just trying to, find something to build on top of it to, layer it out and make it not super repetitive. Next thing too is, build in beat cuts and have moments of silence, because without those, your beat's just going to be boring as fuck because nothing's gonna be changing. And also if it's playing the same thing over and over and over again and nothing's coming in and out, it's kind of just like an 808 in a loop and some drums, even if it's like the hardest like drums and stuff like that, it's gonna get boring after a while because nothing's changing. That's why I highly recommend moments of silence are always good, and also just cutting out instruments. During our bridge, we cut out the 808 completely. And that's just the loop, but the 808 comes in later right here. Reason why we do that is because now, the listener has some like room, and it's like, okay, like I'm not, it's not just 808 the entire time. There's always like some sections where it's like cutting in and out, which is always good. Main trick I learned with that is, at least for 808 cutting, is when you're listening to it in your car, try turning up the sub, especially if your car, you can't really hear the sub, turn up your sub all the way with the in-car equalizer and then just listen to it. And if the sub is too present, or if it's there for too long, then like, hey, maybe there's a section where I can cut it out, for like a quarter note, an eighth note, just like small cuts. So it's not like just like a stream of just bass at your face. It's always good to do that, add some variation. It's always like, it gives the listener a break. That's the main thing. It's like, they can't just listen to that the entire time. There needs to be some variation here and there. Hope you guys had those takeaways from this beat. Like I mentioned before, full thing is going to be on SoundCloud, Audio Mac, YouTube, and BeatStars. If you're a rapper, feel free to hit us up. We're going to be doing a bunch of beat leasing packs and hopefully a lot of production tutorials too in the meantime. And also, music business tutorials are something we also want to go into. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. This has been Michael from Club Yokai. I'll see you guys later. Peace out.